are back with Get Sticky Fantasy Breakdown recap of this weekend's games. Monday night. We're gonna get into Thursday night's game coming up. Like, wow, what a game last night! What a game last night by Patrick Mahomes.
Unbelievable.
What was it? 5 touchdowns, I think he threw?
Yep. 4 passing, 1 rushing. Man had 385 yards, man. Baltimore, where's your defense at? Where's your defense, Baltimore? I thought you were all about that defense there. Ain't got nothing.
I don't know. There was definitely not there. But I mean, just he seems like he's just light years ahead, man. Like he's so far ahead and so far advanced, Patrick Mahomes.
Never seen anything like it, man. This dude looks like he's like a 10-year veteran the way he plays.
Bro, it is. And I mean, when you really get into him, and then you look at Lamar, how far apart are they?
Right. I mean,
they're both great in the video game of Madden. But look how freaking far apart they are. You got to really see how much better Patrick Mahomes is than Lamar.
And what's wild is the fact that they just struggled against Justin Herbert, man. Justin Herbert played better than Lamar Jackson. That's our reigning league MVP. Like, man, you see these two teams in the playoffs. I'm sorry, Ravens. You guys are cooked. You guys are cooked, man. It is the Chiefs' year to lose.
Bro.
I don't see anything in the AFC coming close. Sorry, Pats. I love you, but you cannot slow down that man. He's a bad man. He's a bad man. Is that Patrick Mahomes?
I don't think there's a team that can slow them down unless they get seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Or they just freaking bomb it themselves.
Because that's the thing where they're so deep, man. Like, let's say you lose Tyreek. I love Watkins. Demarcus Robinson's also a stud. They got one more. They're deep there. I mean, like, they just have so many pieces. And when you see their defense step up like that in a big game, when it really matters the most, man, you've got to be nervous if you're in the AFC. You've got to be, man. I'm terrified of facing that team. Which we face them this week, actually. We face them this week to the Pats.
I mean, when you get down into it, when you get to it and look at it, I mean, they're throwing touchdowns to linemen, bro.
Touchdowns to linemen. That's what's nutty, man. The big boy caught one.
It wasn't even a lob to him. He actually extended and caught it above his head. I was like, yeah, go get him.
Man's got hands. Yo, if you lose Kelsey, throw him out there. Let's go 6-0 line, toss it up, eligible receiver, boys. Let's cook.
And then we get into this weekend, man. It was kind of crazy because a lot of stuff that we really thought was gonna go certain ways, it didn't happen. It was odd, man. I mean, the Vikings end up winning. I believe they ended up winning their game. We called that a easy L.
Yeah, that Vikings, that was a close one. I mean, we had a guy that we're going to definitely talk about later, Justin Jefferson, who absolutely lit it up. He absolutely lit it up. And actually, no, they ended up losing by 1
Did they end up losing? I knew they took the lead.
1 point to the Titans. I think it was like a last-second field goal or something. I think Steven Gostkowski somehow hit a field goal, which I'm baffled as a Pats fan. That dude did nothing but go wide right every time. Man went 6 for 6, longest to 55 yards. Gostkowski, good for you. I'm proud of you, man. Kind of would like you over Nick Folk, what I've seen from Folk here. But, I mean, that was just a wild game across the board. I mean, the fact that Derrick Henry just continues to do what Derrick Henry does, 26 carries, 119, 2 touchdowns, that's just rushing. He also had 2 catches for 11. Like, this guy's electric. And how about this Vikings, man? Their defense.
How do you feel about him getting that many touches this early in the season? Do you think he gets wore out if he's running so much by the middle of the season, end of the season?
Yeah, I think that might have been a little bit of what happened last year. And if I'm the Titans, I think what you've seen from Tannehill is very promising, but not having Hollywood Brown out there really hampers the offense a lot. But I think there's just so many weapons there that I think this Titans team has a chance to definitely take the playoffs, probably take the division. But I'm very interested to see. I mean, this Titans team being 3-0 and the Vikings being 0-3 is not something I would have predicted coming in. I mean, Kirk Cousins, just bad. Just bad Kirk. Bad Kirk. No, bad. Tank for Trevor. Tank for Trevor.
And then, like, we look at this game. Game still gets me. Does this show how bad these two teams are with Cincinnati and Philly?
That was something else.
Tying up. First tie in week 3. We already have a tie.
Absolutely insane. And the sad thing too is I feel like both of those teams easily could have won. I mean, you had Carson Wentz, 2 interceptions. That's not pretty. Burrow looked pretty good. I think Burrow looked pretty good. I think we could have seen a little bit more out of Mixon here. But man, Tyler Boyd looked great. T. Higgins made some nice plays. Another guy that we'll probably talk about in the waiver section later on here. I'm just surprised that one, Burrows looked really good, and two, that the Eagles are just so bad. How are the Eagles this bad? Did I just not see this? Eagles fans, did you guys see this? Because man, they are struggling. 0-2-1. That is not going to do you much good in that division, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's not a great division, but the Cowboys and the Washington football team blowing by the Eagles right now. Blowing by. Throwing Jalen Hurts.
That's another question I wanted to get to is when do you think they pull Wentz? Do they pull him?
I would very much so consider it. He has not been great this year. I can look at his numbers for the year, but he just hasn't been himself. I think the O-line's a bit of a problem, but I think at the same time, we've seen for a while now that Wentz he's never really won a big game, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong here, but I can't think of a game where I was like, man, Carson Wentz really showed up today. I mean, on the season, he's got 6 picks to 3 touchdowns, a 63.9 passer rating. That is unacceptable as a starter. If I'm the Eagles, I think you maybe give him one more shot. Maybe. But after that, I think you got to move on. I mean, you took Jalen Hurts for a reason. You took him for a reason. And I mean, they have a pretty easy schedule, all things considered. They're facing the Niners on Sunday Night Football after the injuries there. But then look at this. They're facing the Steelers and Ravens back-to-back. Do you want to throw Jalen Hurts into that? I don't think you do.
I mean,
I think if he's bad against the Steelers and Ravens, then you've got the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Giants again. Jalen Hurts season. I think you wait. I think you wait on the schedule. You throw him out there when you feel like you got a good schedule. Because, I mean, you're looking at Giants, Eagles, Giants. Then you got the Browns. And then you have the Seahawks, Packers, Saints, Cardinals. Tough on the back half there. But I think if you throw him out there for the Steelers and Ravens, that's a tough way to start, man.
My thing is, I think it may happen sooner than we think. Just because, I mean, if you're going to be losing, why not let the rookie get it?
Because Wentz, is he on the last year here? Is it like an option pickup situation here with Wentz?
I can't remember his contract.
Let me check out his contract real quick. But I mean, I definitely think he's in a spot where, I mean, what have you seen out of him? Like, he's been injured a ton. Like,
he can't stay healthy for a season.
So, okay, so here it is. His potential out is in 2022. They've already extended him. So he's there until 2014 or 2024. But I think 2022, if he can get out from the team, I think he's gone. But if it's Carson Wentz wanting to stay, you know he's going to stay. He's definitely going to stay. I mean, you don't want to go into a different situation. Like, where are you even going to go? Like Wentz to the Giants, man. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know where he goes.
I mean, like if Wentz plays at his top tier play, Wentz isn't a bad quarterback, but
yeah,
we have like the top tier play is like non-existent right now. Like he is not.
Yeah. I think a big problem outside the O-line is not having Alshon. I mean, the whole domino effect of having a true number 1 receiver like Alshon, knocking everyone down a peg, getting more comfortable with that. I also think that the Eagles really struggled in finding a new number 2. Now, I'm not a big Nelson Aguilar guy. He will drop the ball every time. But he can get open. And I haven't seen this old Deshaun Jackson do much. I mean, who else they got there? Like Mac Hollins, I think, is still there. JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I just don't love this talented group. They just put, I believe, Dallas Goedert just hit IR, short-term IR.
He went on IR.
That's bad, man. He's been one of the lone bright spots for that team outside Miles Sanders, and I think that this team just got to reevaluate. I mean, it's interesting too because this division is so winnable, but all these teams just keep blowing it, man. Like you look at teams who have been in a chance to win these games, man. Like the Cowboys against the Hawks, brutal end to that game. Like, how do you not come out of that one with a win? Like it's tough right now for that division.
When we got into Pittsburgh and Houston. Is Houston real? Like, I mean, they played a good game. They didn't win the game, but they gave the Steelers a run. I mean, is there a chance that they may be finding a little mojo down there?
Yeah, I was surprised by that game. I mean, I definitely think the Texans looked pretty good. Watson looked relatively well. Only 8 incompletions. One of those was picked, of course. But I think the big problem there right now is what are you getting out of David Johnson? 13 carries for 23 yards, 1.8
I
average.
think you got to.
That
I
is
think you just got to.
startling.
I think you go to Duke and give Duke a real good chance. Like Duke has never
Yeah.
had a real. Like, he's ran the ball and filled in and did that. He's done well in those spots.
Mm.
But I'd like to see Duke get like the ball. Like, here, you're the
Yeah,
starter.
for sure. I
Let's see
mean,
what
if he
happens.
comes back, it turns out he's actually missed 2 games here with a sprained ankle. They ended up giving a rep to CJ Procise, the former Seahawk
I don't
there.
even know who
I
that
don't love that. And when you look at this box score for the Texans, now I've always been a fan of Randall Cobb, but when Randall Cobb's leading your team in yardage, that's a problem to me. I think Will Fuller has shown that he might not be number one. Brandon Cooks hasn't really done much there. Stills, like, what are you getting out of him? I do like Jordan Akins at tight end, but man, this team, I don't think they have the pieces. I really don't think the Texans have the pieces. I love Watson, but I think that the Steelers just have too many weapons. They have too many weapons. I mean, you could probably pick 5, 6 guys out of that Steelers team
Yeah,
that could legitimately gash you on any given day. Connor back in form there, 18 for 109. And this Anthony McFarland kid, 42 yards off 6 carries. You like to see that. I mean, they just continue to put out offensive weapons on the weekly, and it's wild, man. I mean, just every week it feels like they have a new name out there, catching balls, running it for tutties. Like, this is wild right now what the Steelers are doing. And finally, Eric Ebron. We finally saw an Eric Ebron.
I love it. I actually love that they have that like that because it's like somebody goes down, you're not in trouble. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's I think that's the best way to build. And then we get into 49ers. Like the 49ers, I knew we expected this to happen. We expected them to blow out the Giants, but they put up 36 points.
They looked good doing it.
Banged
They
up.
real good doing it.
Defense looked good. And the offense looked good. We thought they were going to have a little trouble in the run game, but those guys came out of nowhere. Wilson's showing up, putting up like 20 some points and 22 points, I believe, in fantasy in our league.
Yeah, I think the big one is the fact that McKinnon and Jeff Wilson both looked fantastic. Because I was heavy on McKinnon. We kind of mentioned Wilson a little bit. I believe you actually ended up starting Wilson, which, man, that was a fire play. Hats off on that one. But, I mean, look at all the talent. You got Brandon Ayuk coming out, putting some work in. I mean, the fact that you have just continued cycling, and then you got Nick Mullins showing up. But you got to wonder, is this solely because of it's the Giants? And I think it's very possible there. I mean, they got the Eagles this week. Pretty easy, followed by Dolphins. Those are going to be a couple of easy games. But I think the Rams, Pats, Seahawks, Packers, Saints, all in a row, that's a tough stretch for this Niners team. They're going to be hard-pressed to make the playoffs. They're going to be hard-pressed to make the wild card here. Yeah. I think that with what we're seeing from the Seahawks and the Cardinals, probably a lost year for the Giants. Man, you got to be happy if you're the coach there. I mean, Shanahan's got to be happy with what he's getting from his guys.
I mean, he's kind of got that effect that the Steelers got, man. He's just going into people, and these people just want to play, man. And that's the best type of player to get is these guys that just really want to play football.
Yeah, out here fighting.
Then we can get into New England and the Raiders.
I like that.
This one went the way I thought it was going to go. I believe I said New England on this one.
Yeah, I think we all did. I thought it was going to be closer though, for sure. I thought this had a chance of being a good game, but
I mean, Cam did his thing. I mean, like, Cam looks like an old young Cam out here right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's just doing his thing, and it's I love it because I'm a big Cam fan because Cam's big. He's a big community person and always about the fans and always trying to do the bigger things that are bigger than football. And just seeing him come back and being 100%. I mean, I love it because I just like, dude, like, Carolina, what were you thinking?
Right? I mean,
Teddy ain't doing it.
Yeah, there's this big X factor with Cam too, because I mean, like, Cam himself might not have had the best day. I mean, 9 incompletions, 162 yards, touchdown, interception. Not great running with 9 and 27, but the fact that you have to think about Cam running, you have to watch the quarterback at all times. You can't let him slip. And this running game was phenomenal. You had 9 carries, 117 for Sony, 6 carries, 49 for Rex Burkhead, and then even J.J. Taylor, undrafted free agent. Bill found himself another one, 11 for 43, which is pretty good. This dude runs with a purpose. Mind you, he's only 5'6", but this guy's a bruiser. And, I mean, you add the receiving that you get out of Burkhead. Sony Michel had a couple catches, man. This team is far more dynamic than I thought it would be. This defense is looking great. Winovich is looking great. I think that when the Raiders didn't use Waller, you knew that this wasn't going to go well. Waller wasn't ready to be out there. Waller late in the fourth quarter took this hit from a rookie safety Kyle Duggar, who come back in 3 years. This kid's going to be a stud. This Kyle Duggar kid. He blasted Waller so bad. Waller didn't come back in for the rest of the game, I don't think. Came back maybe one more time. The dude sat for like 6-7 snaps. Like, I ain't about that action. I ain't about that action, man. And I mean, just the stuff we've seen out of this Patriots team, I'm really excited to see where they go next. They have a tough matchup against the Chiefs this week. I'm sorry, Pats, you're going to lose that one. But hey, put on a fight. Put on a fight. That's what we're doing. We're a fighting team. We're a fighting team right now.
Then we get into this Washington-Cleveland game.
That was something.
We lose Matt Ioannidis for the year. Chase is out of the game. Defensive line got a little shifted up, but I mean, this was this terrible play on Haskins.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think this is 100% on him.
He blows this game, staring down his receivers, 3 interceptions, just was terrible. And I don't know where they go. I mean, he's probably pretty close to being pulled. I would almost imagine he's not. But
who's the backup over there right now?
Alex Smith and Kyle Allen.
You guys traded for Kyle. I actually kind of like Kyle Allen. He was okay with the Panthers. But I mean, Haskins, man, we picked you high. You're staring down your guys like we're playing Pee Wee. You got the weapons. Dontrell Inman looked decent. Terry, fantastic as always.
I like
but something
this
that
is my
worries
thing
me here is all the rushers, man. They really don't know what they're doing out here. Like, how do you give Gibson 9 carries? This guy looks dynamic.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things too, is that he needs to touch the ball. Like, you got to realize he comes in as a receiver into this position. He hasn't really I think he only had like 40 snaps in college, but he's gonna he needs to touch the ball. And
absolutely,
like, I don't mind the nice rotation that they got going with JD and him, but he's got to see more than 9. But like a running back only seeing 9 carries, that's not good for any running back.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to have a balance. I mean,
there's no
McKissick
confidence
and
to me.
Peyton Barber combined for 17 carries. You got to try harder than that. You really do. I think Gibson has shown that he can take over. He can get you the rock. And man, it's important. The play action game is nothing to sleep on for a young quarterback. You get that play action working, you get them to bite on that run, it opens up everything. Terry looks great. You got to make sure that he's getting these looks. Logan Thomas. I mean, I love these weapons. I think he's got the weapons. I just think it's 100% on Haskins.
Yeah, I mean, the weapons are there. He's late on throws. He's staring them down.
Yeah, 16 incompletions, 3 of which were picks. That's not winning football. And I think that the defense could have done a little bit better, allowing Chubb to run wild. I think they did well. I really do think
Appreciate you, DK.
It was not the defense today. I think it's got to be on Haskins.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think he's but a game. If he even has a game in him, he might be a half of a game from being sat, man. It's bad. Then we get into Buffalo, as I called. Everybody disagreed with me this weekend on the Fantasy Breakdown show on Sunday that Josh Allen put on a show.
That's a bad man. That's a bad man, Josh Allen. If you're a Bills fan, God, lucky guys, man. I'm so he's a divisional rival, but I love watching that dude play. He is just a badass, man. Like, was that last week when he's out here stiff arming, trucking dudes, man? Like, he looked fantastic again on 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, man. He ran for a touchdown. 5 total.
I knew he was gonna sling it. Like I said it. There was no way that they were going to hold him down. He's just been too hot. Like, the offense has been too crazy. Like, it's just, he's throwing the fucking ball like a missile. He's so fast with his release. He's so, the ball velocity is just crazy.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's one of the things, like I said, these guys you can't really duplicate this in practice of how hard he throws the ball.
Yeah. And what's crazy about this game, too, is the guys who led in receiving. If you told me that the top 2 receivers, they were not Stephon Diggs, they were not John Brown.
Nope.
They were Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis. Now, I like Cole Beasley a lot, but Gabriel Davis with 4 for 81, let's go, man. They got talent on talent on talent. John Brown didn't even touch the ball. He didn't get a single catch.
This is
And
one of
team
those
just
things like
trucked.
we talked about this. We kind of hit on it that if they were going to get locked up, those two guys were going to get locked up. It was
Mhm.
going to go one other way. Diggs might get some catches, but we figured they would go towards Brown's side because Brown's been so hot. And I think he actually drew Ramsey. I think he had Ramsey
I think
a
he
bunch
did
of
most
the
of the
time.
time. Yeah.
And then I mean, their DBs were just all over him, and what they gave the other guys a chance. And I just look at it as Allen just doesn't care who he's throwing to. If you're catching it, he's got you.
And this is an interesting game too, because man, we made the joke. Twitter made the jokes. We're looking at the Buffalo Falcons. They very nearly blew what was a 28-3 lead, I think, actually.
Yep.
And they managed to come back. Allen put his junk right on the table and said, you know what? I'm going to win this game for you boys. I'm going to win this game. And the fact that, so the Bills defense makes me a little nervous here. They gave up a lot to Darrell Henderson, who we did talk about. I think Darrell Henderson officially passed Malcolm Brown. Make sure if Darrell Henderson's out there, you pick him up ASAP. I mean, Kupp had a good game. Robert Woods had a good game. But it doesn't matter when you got a guy like Josh Allen with ice in his veins on that last drive. That was the stuff that you don't even imagine doing as like a 5-year pro. And this dude's young, man. Josh Allen would good luck stopping him. This kid's a stud. He's gonna be possibly Hall of Famer if he keeps doing what he's doing. And I mean, if you're facing the Bills, man, do your homework, because even with the homework, probably gonna fail the test.
I didn't fail the test. I knew it was coming. I knew it. But no,
I mean,
how great was Aaron Donald though? Aaron Donald still
that man's a stud.
fucking wrecking havoc, bro. He had the what do you have? He had the strip sack fumble recovery. He did it all by himself. The only thing he could have did was get a touchdown. Like this dude is just manhandling people. Like
one of these days, they're gonna JJ Watt him at tight end or fullback, and Aaron Donald. Imagine putting Aaron Donald in the backfield and just run through him.
The old fridge.
Yeah, give him the old fridge Perry treatment, the old Vita Vea in this place.
Bro, like he was like
up the middle.
I watched him do the sack, and like, dude, the way he's picked, like he's picking these 300-pound linemen up and just throwing them like they don't even like. I don't even care if you're one of the best linemen. You like Aaron Donald, you're fucked.
Aaron Donald, we're calling it monster among men right there. You got men on the field, that's a freaking monster, man.
This is not even a I don't even know what that is. That's like an unseen.
That's like the Hulk out here versus
that's an unseen thing we have never seen before. Because I've watched. I mean, you've watched a lot of football. I've watched a lot of football in 36 years. I ain't never seen a man pick up two guys at the same time and just throw them.
It's insane, man. It literally, it's the Captain Insano Waterboy out here. He's just going off.
Yeah,
man.
bro, he's crazy. And then we get into this game, Chicago and Atlanta game. How bad is freaking Atlanta's defense in the second half of games?
Falcons fans, find a new team. I'm sorry, find a new team. How are you going to blow a lead in all 3 year games? You're going to lose to Nick Foles.
Yo, Nick looked good though.
Don't mind you, he looked good.
He looked good.
3 touchdowns for the pick. Looked pretty solid. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, you're out. You're out. I don't know where he's going to go.
They've already called it. They've already said that Foles started.
Yeah. If you're a team and you're looking at Mitch Trubisky, I don't even touch him. Like, even if you're like Bill Belichick and you think you can train this kid up, you've seen time and time again that this is not the guy. I mean, Nick Foles, I'm calling it now. He's going to have a couple good games, and he's going to start choking at some point. But the way that he looked with that offense, with very little prep as well. I mean, Allen Robinson, bad man. 10 catches, 123 and a tutty. Bad man. Do you see that one touchdown catch he had?
Yeah.
Disrespectful, that man.
That's a good ball, though. Should have been.
You know what's funny? Real quick one. Mitch Trubisky actually had more passing yards than Lamar this week.
Oh my god!
And mind you, Mitch Trubisky got benched.
How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel, Lamar?
Right.
MVP. What? Madden, reevaluate.
That's a wild stat right there.
This just shows you how bad Madden ratings are.
I mean, it's insane. Yeah, Lamar with 97 passing yards, while Trubisky's out here with 128. How How does that happen? How does that happen?
And
Yeah, I
then
mean, I think this is a case where if you're the Falcons, you're in a tough spot. I think the Bears,
well, they
though,
just lost
it's
Gage
coming
too.
around.
Is Gage?
Yeah.
Did you got any word on Gage? I didn't. I don't know.
No,
If, I know he
I
was
can find out
out.
real quick.
I knew he was out of the game. I didn't know. Like I heard somebody possibly say IR. He was heading for, which would be huge.
It looks like it's just a concussion, so he'll be
Well,
back.
he could be
eventually.
sitting for a little bit. So
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Bears, you're about to face the Colts. You're about to face the Bucks.
an
You guys-
interesting
you-
thing
it's
here
coming back
too.
to earth. It's coming back to earth.
Just to get back on this Eagles, they literally replaced the tight end with a receiver.
I saw that. That's quite the move. I mean, the way they use Goddard, I get it. But
And the
man,
way they
that
use
dude,
tight ends, they love a 2 tight end system. I would like to see who that guy is going to be.
you know, what is this, CFM and Madden? We're gonna put our wide receiver at tight end, get some glitchy speed out there. I like it. Mismatch. Okay.
Hey.
Good luck.
And then you get we get into the Carolina Chargers game. This one was a little that is definitely a SME move. You give me a guy that's over 215 pounds, over 6'2", and he's got an 88 speed. Damn well going to tight end, baby.
Yep, right. Taylor's all this time.
I was eating with I actually had some really big plays this week in week 1 with him.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not going to talk about week 1. Lost to the CPU feels bad, man. Rest in pepperonis.
So we get into this Chargers Carolina game. We're sitting at Carolina, like I'm blown away that the Chargers lose.
I think this was just a weird game overall. I mean, so I think the big key here is the fumbles. If you lose 3 fumbles, then you throw a pick 2. It's tough to win a game. I mean, when you look at the Panthers, they had really nothing. I mean, Bridgewater, 22 for 28, 235 and tutty.
What did Herbert do? Whatever the fuck his name is.
Herbert looked good, man. 330. He completed 35 of 49, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
Hit a ball 49 times.
Keenan Allen, 13 for 132.
Ooh.
Eckler, 11 for 84. I mean, I
Eckler
think-
had rushing yards too, though.
Yeah, Eckler also put up 59 rushing, so he was closing in on 150 all-purpose yards there. And
Good day.
I think the fact that the Panthers didn't do much. I mean, Mike Davis, I picked Mike Davis in a bunch of leagues for daily. He did nothing really. I mean, 13 for 46, 8 catches for 45, not bad. But I mean, losing McCaffrey's big. But I mean, there was no real big plays here. No receiver over 65 yards. It was just a surprising game. I think it's 100%, man. That team just they lost the fumbles, and it's tough to win a game when you're losing these fumbles. Yeah. I know one of those fumbles came from my guy Josh Kelly there, but I'm not sure where the other ones came from. But it's tough to win a game when you're losing the turnover battle, plain and simple.
Yeah,
and I think that the Panthers only 3 points in the second half. That's something that they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle. That Panthers team, I don't think either of us are too high on here.
No, I was when I seen that score, I was like, what happened?
Jarring.
And then we get into this, and this one we all expected. And this is the Indianapolis Jets. This is simple call here. I mean, we all knew it was coming. I mean,
oh yeah.
I think Jonathan.
I mean, it's the Jets.
I think Taylor actually went off in this game. If I have my stats correct on this one, I believe.
Yeah, he had a pretty good day. I mean, he had a nice 59 to tutty there. Wilkins got a little bit involved. Naheem Hines a little bit, which I don't love to see. The running backs, 13 carries, 9 carries, 7 carries for Taylor Wilkins Hines. That's something that worries me from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah.
But I mean, that team looked good. I mean, Mo Alley Cox with 3 catches, 50 and a tutty. Like to see that from him.
Yeah,
especially because
we're big on him.
Jack Doyle actually came back this week, and Mo Alley kept the job. Jack Doyle didn't have a single catch. So
yeah, I don't think Cox gets taken out. I mean, he's on a hot hand. He's riding. Yeah. I mean, I think
something that's a concern though is they lost Pittman. I'm not sure for how long here, but I know Pittman went down during that game, out indefinitely after surgery. Okay. Oh, he had a compartment leg syndrome in his calf. No clue what that means.
What the hell is that?
He is out indefinitely.
What is that though?
Because I think he's a stud.
We need an injury guy.
Right? Can we have a doctor? Is there a doctor in the house?
We need a doctor. Paging doctors. Any doctors in the house. I would like to know what the hell that is, because that sounds like it's painful.
Pittman looked so good, and they already don't have some of their other guys. I mean, Pascal's now going to be the number 2. A guy named Doris Fountain.
This is where the tight ends come into play for Rivers, man.
I mean, you're seeing Hines play like a pure wide receiver at this point. 4 catches, 40 yards, another 7 for 21 carrying. So I think that Hines is a guy that, despite being really quiet for a little bit there, I think he might be something that you might want to keep an eye on here if they don't have these receivers to play through.
Then we get into Dallas, Seattle. How fucking bad is it for Dallas? Like, I say this all the time. Dak is a good quarterback. Like, he's a decent quarterback.
Yeah.
But
when he's
he
got the
is
real matchup.
not that guy when it is time to play.
No.
He
just wasn't.
He reminds me of Kirk Cousins, man. He's just not a guy that he can make these plays. He can make great stuff throughout the game. But when the game's on the line, he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
Dallas
this
seems
was
to draft those guys. They seem to draft him. They drafted what Romo was the same way. And then who was the other guy in there? Romo.
When the lights are bright, they get dull. It's just that simple. I mean, numbers wise, Dak, sure. I mean, 472 yards, 3 touchdowns. But
Yeah, I mean, yards are amazing. Like, you could throw yards all day.
Elliott got boxed, 14 carries for 34. I mean, Elliott was just not himself. And I think something that was really crazy in that game is, I mean, we know Gallup's good. We know CeeDee Lamb's good. We know that Amari Cooper's good. Cedric Wilson came out with 5 for 107 and 2 touchdowns. Where did he come from?
I don't know.
They now have 4 legit receivers. I mean, all the receivers did pretty well. I mean, Dalton Schultz at the worst, a tight end for 448. Those are good numbers. I mean, from a fantasy standpoint, I'm starting everyone on that offense.
That's scary, bro. Like, I mean, if you got that much, that's the thing is, how do you fucking lose when you have what you have?
Yep.
But I've
that defense. It's that damn defense, man. It's so bad.
Like, I've 100% always said I'm not a big fan of Zeke. I think Zeke is a little overrated because of the line that he runs behind.
Absolutely. You lose Frederick, you lose Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
Ugly.
I don't think. I mean, 14. He had a 2.4 average, bro. Like, that is not a starting running back. Like, that is a backup guy for me. And
I mean, that defense just got roasted again, giving up 200-yard receivers. He gave up 3 touchdowns to Lockett, and I love Lockett, but a couple of those were in the red zone. He just snuck right by him.
Is this a McCarthy thing? Like, I know he likes to throw the ball, because he had Rodgers for so long. But this isn't Dak is not Rodgers.
Exactly,
and 57 times and didn't complete 20 of those passes.
That's just not good numbers. And quite frankly, like, Zeke didn't look great, but that's only on 14 carries. How do you only give him 14 carries? I mean, he got a couple touches in the passing game too. Had 6 catches there, but I think you got to lean on Ezekiel Elliott. I think that we talked a little bit about this before, where you got to play that run game into the pass game. I think it's just a factor of the league. You got to get guys to bite on things. When they know you're going to run it, you're going to get stuffed. When they know you're going to pass it, you're going to get stopped. It's just how this league is. You got to be unpredictable. And the first second they know what you're doing, you're getting stopped every time.
I mean, we get into Russell Wilson. How hot is this guy?
MVP.
Dude,
easy.
27 for 40.
MVP Russell Wilson, man.
27 for 40, 315 yards, 5 touchdowns. The big one here is no interceptions.
None. And that is by far the biggest
40 passes. On 40 passes.
Unreal.
Dak had 57 and missed 20 completions.
Yeah, it's just wild, man. I mean, Russell Wilson, if you think about where he came from, man, he was what, 3rd round? They had just signed, who was that? Matt Flynn. They just gave a big deal to Matt Flynn. Remember Matt Flynn?
Yeah, didn't he come? Wasn't he? He was at Raiders before he came there, right? Wasn't he a Raider guy?
So the big play that got him his job there was a Week 17 game with the Packers. Aaron Rodgers was sitting because the playoff seed was figured out. Matt Flynn came out. He fucking slung it all over the field. He looked phenomenal.
I remember that.
So the Seahawks go, they pay him. But in the preseason, they're like, Pete's like, hey, this Russell Wilson kid looks pretty good. Next thing you know, you have possibly the most dynamic quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes. This guy's a stud. He can throw it. He can run it.
Bro,
if I could pick one quarterback, I think it'd be Russell Wilson. Now, mind you, Patrick Mahomes is absolutely the future here. But what we've seen out of Wilson, he's got the track record. He looks phenomenal. He can make any talent show up. This guy's a leader. He's a fighter. I love Russell Wilson. I love this guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, like they're definitely the top 10 guys. I mean, top 2 guys is Patrick Mahomes and
what we're seeing, that's probably our Super Bowl. We're probably seeing Seahawks. We're probably seeing Chiefs. With what we've seen.
I mean, for me, the Seattle defense got to get better.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Got to get better to win that Super Bowl.
They lost Jamal Adams during that game, which I think hurt him a lot. But
And then
absolutely, I think that if they had Clowney still, I think this would have been
this
a really
game, if DK Metcalf scores his touchdown instead of fucking around,
that was so bad.
This game doesn't even. We're not even talking 31, 38.
That could have been the biggest blunder. I mean, if they lost that game, he could never live that down. I mean,
that's almost as bad as the butt fumble, bro. That's almost as bad as Brady Quinn butt. Wasn't it Brady Quinn butt fumble?
Mark Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez.
Against
yeah, I mean, they're about the same.
Ran right into my man's cheeks. Ran right into his cheeks.
That's almost the same guy.
Pretty much. I mean, if we're being honest, pretty much the same guy. Both USC too, I believe, right? Brady Quinn was USC.
I believe. I don't remember anymore.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're Metcalf, man, what are you thinking? You just caught the ball. It's not like you broke away from like 10 people, man. You just.
Well, that's what I think. That's what I think he was. I think he felt that he blew past the guy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Metcalf's fast, but man, you ain't that fast.
But you know what I really liked? What I liked was what I really liked about it though is that fucking rookie got burnt, but kept playing, and he punched the ball out, bro. Like that's how you redeem yourself as a rookie when you get burnt. You got burnt and you went and made a play. You didn't give up on the play. You kept running. And what's your coach gonna say to you? Oh, you got burnt, blah, 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 blah. But then he goes and fucking smacks it. He ain't gonna say nothing to you. He's gonna congratulate you and keep him playing.
Oh, peanut punch. Love
how good is Lockett right now?
Lockett's on fire. I mean,
nine for 103 tutties, bro.
That's nutty, man. That's nutty. I mean, I'm surprised by the touchdown output. I get the catches, I get the yards, but getting 3 touchdowns ain't no small thing. That's impressive. I think that while Lockett's so fast, he's got the great hands, but just his ability to separate. And I think again, though, this is on the Cowboys. At the end of the day, this is on the Cowboys. Their defense is not going to win them any games. And if Haskins,
this is what I've been saying all day, bro.
If Haskins can play half decent, you guys have the division. With the way we've seen from the Cowboys play this year,
this is my thing. This is what I've been talking about all year: is that their secondary is not as good as everybody thinks it is. And I've been saying that all year on the show since week 1. Is that they got a shady. Their defense is just too weak back there at the DB spots, man. They're getting burnt. I mean, you gave up. They gave up what right there? They gave up just in 2 guys. They gave up 13 catches for 210 yards and 4 touchdowns. And
that's sad.
And then you come down here and you look at Greg Olsen. He has another 5 catches with 60 yards to it.
Which is wild, man. It's absolutely wild. I mean, the thing with Olsen is I feel like he's really reliable.
Does Chris Carson go out the game? I remember that one Dallas guy grabbed his ankle and freaking spun on it.
Yeah, he did the old gator roll, which, man, people trying to justify that.
You can't. You definitely can't. You definitely can't gator roll on anything.
You cannot tell me that was not intentional.
Oh yeah, he went with it.
I legitimately think if you're gonna have face masks, if you're gonna have horse collars, you need to add that. It's happened before.
Take somebody's career away from him.
Exactly. The good thing is that so it seems like he's gonna be okay. It seems like a knee sprain. MRI looked good, so thank God Chris Carson's okay. Because to see a guy get injured for that reason, especially when we saw so many just random injuries in week 1, it just is frustrating, man. Like, you guys are all players. You're all just playing a game. Why are we getting dirty? I mean, we looked at that in that Eagles Bengals game. You see that hit that they had on Burrow?
Yeah, dude, he lit him, bro.
That was ridiculous.
Like, but it was all shoulder. It was all shoulder. That's the thing. I think that's why it was. I don't even know what they called it. I think they called it later. It was like a late flag.
Yeah. It was a late one. But man, these guys, stop hurting each other. We're all trying to make a living. Come on, trying to injure my mans. Come on.
And then we get into Tampa Bay, Denver. We kind of called this one.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be that one-sided, but I definitely thought that, man. That wasn't gonna be.
Tom Brady does this thing, gets a dub. I don't think he was fantastic, but I think he did enough to get it.
Looked good. 297, 3 touchdowns.
He did better than what I thought he did.
Looking real good. I think something that's big here too is we finally saw Gronkowski sighting 6 catches, 48 yards. My guy, he might be back. He almost got in the end zone too. He was carrying like 2 guys, and the third one got him because you know him. He's gonna pick you up and he's gonna carry your ass in.
Now this is the interesting one here. Is Ronald Jones has the carry? He had the bulk of the carries here. 13 for 53, and then you have Leonard Fournette coming in 7 for 15. I thought Fournette was definitely taking it over the way they had it slated and the way they were talking about it.
The way the week before went too, Fournette had the job, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, it's Ronald. Like, this is one of those things where, like, until you see multiple weeks from a running back, you just don't know what you're getting, man. Like, we talked about with the Rams, talked about with the Niners.
So
like,
many teams are so deep right now.
Yeah, it's just so tough. I mean, even with them, like Ronald Jones and Fournette, but you can't forget that the ghost of LaShawn McCoy is looming there. He had a couple good plays. I mean, a couple catches there. They got him involved a little bit. I mean, I think that this is an offense that's just so deep. They have so many weapons. I mean, and an interesting stat here. Mike Evans, 2 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Fantastic. Good for you. That's efficient. That's
red zone.
This is just such a deep team, man. This is just such a deep team. Their defense showed up. Mind you, it's against Jeff
Driscoll.
The real
question is, what do we know? What do we know about this Scott Miller guy?
Oh, I love this Scott Miller. I mean, they've had rave reviews through training camp. You didn't know if that was just them pumping his gas or not, but man, this kid seems like a stud, man. He's got the speed, he's got the hands, he's kind of in that Edelman mold, but a little faster. I'm liking what I've seen out of him, man. I've really liked what I've seen out of him. This is what his third year, second year.
White slot guy for Brady.
Yeah, literally.
He loves him.
So yeah, this is his second year here, and he's taken a big step forward. I mean, last year 13 catches, 200. I'm pretty sure he's close to that just on the season. Yeah, he's got 10 for 167 right now. So I mean, if they're using him the way they've been using him, I mean, this kid looks like a stud. And yeah, absolutely, spot on.
So what's going on in Denver now? I mean, we see Brent Ripken get in there. I think that's the son of Mark Ripken.
I would think so. I mean, he looked good. The
8 for 9, 53. Is he getting a start? Like, did Jeff get hurt?
I would think that just from what we've seen, I mean, I'll see if anything happened with him. No, I was just saying that Brett Ripien to start. Jeff Driscoll could also play of this upcoming game because, I mean, mind you, they're playing the Jets. But they are saying that both might see some playing time. I think they're going to roll out a little bit, maybe like a preseason look where it's like, oh, you get a driver too. But I think we've seen Driscoll. I think Driscoll, I mean, between his time here and in the Lions, we know what he is. Give the youngster a shot. This is early career for him. He is a rookie. Okay, I thought he was a rookie. Coming out of Boise State. So I'm interested to see what we see out of him. I mean, he looked good. I saw some highlights of him. I mean, you think he knows what he's doing out there. I think the problem with that team, though, is they don't have a lot of talent, a lot of injuries.
A lot of young.
I mean,
a lot of youth. Like,
I mean, I love Noah Fant, love Jerry Jeudy, but man, these are young guys. These are just really young guys, man.
And there's no older guy up there being able to help these guys.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, if you look at all the receiving, the oldest receiver there is Melvin Gordon, and he ain't even been in the league for that long. So, I mean, I think this is a team that needs some veteran leadership. I think you bring in some veterans in the offseason. I mean, they have some pieces on defense, but I believe they just lost Jarrell Casey as well. Yeah, season-ending injury for Jarrell Casey. So they lose Casey. They lose Von Miller. They lose Locke for a couple weeks. They lose Cortland Sutton for the season. I mean, they just can't catch a break right now. I think if you're the Denver Broncos, 0-3, tank it. You ain't winning that division this year. Go get that draft pick. If you get the first pick, trade it. You know, people want Trevor Lawrence. Get that pick, trade it, move on with your lives. Come on now. If you think Locke's the guy, roll the Locke. If you don't, go get Trevor.
And we got a game that nobody's seen happening. Detroit Lions and Arizona Cardinals.
I think
how bad was Murray?
Kyler choked. He straight up choked. And I mean, we've talked about this Lions defense this season. I have not been a fan of this team. I'm not a fan of Matt Patricia as a head coach. But I mean, Kyler Murray, 3 interceptions, man. Ugh. You threw for 2 and ran for 1, but man, you can't be making those mistakes. I mean, Hopkins again looked fantastic.
And that's what kills me. That's what kills me with that is how good he's been. He's been so efficient.
Yeah.
Like, where was he? Where'd he go right there? You know what I mean? Like, then you have Drake. Drake looked great. 73 yards, 18 carries, getting a 4.1 average. And then,
so funny you mentioned that because I was gonna say actually, Frost was telling me apparently this is like a trap game. Apparently, whenever they play the Lions, they don't do well. I don't know if that's true, mind you, but I could see that because you know what that is. Some teams just have that one team that they can't handle. I mean, the defense showed up pretty well.
Like last night,
shut down. Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get into that one, boys. We're gonna get into that one. I mean, like offensively, they didn't do a lot, did the Lions? I mean, this is really just a game where just Kyler Murray threw that game away. I mean, Stafford was okay. I mean, Adrian Peterson, which, by the way, shocks me that Adrian Peterson, 22 carries to carry on's 3. Nothing for Swift there. absolutely dominating that field. But I mean, I think Kenny Galladay coming back was big.
Yeah,
I think Galladay coming back, that's a confidence boost. That's a morale boost. I think that's big for them. I think that's really big for them.
My guy finally shows up that I've been talking about all season. It should be a guy catching the ball and scoring. Andy Isabella shows up, 4 catches, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'll take it.
He looked real solid, man. I think that's a receiving core.
I'm wondering where Kirk was. Kirk didn't have a catch.
Kirk was injured. Kirk was out that game. Yeah. Which is why we see a little bit more Keyshawn Johnson, who I believe is the son of the other Johnson there, Keyshawn. But yeah, I mean, I think that what we've seen out of that Cardinals team is something that really worries me. I think that they didn't really have enough. Yeah, he's the son of Keyshawn Johnson.
Now, do you think that teams are kind of catching on a little bit, even though this man had 10 catches? Are you starting to feel is that teams are seeing like, oh, let's go into Hopkins, he can catch the ball all day long?
I think a little bit there. I don't know where those 3
keep him out,
but I have a bad feeling that a couple of those picks probably came from forcing into Hopkins. And I mean, I think that's tough because when you're a young quarterback like that and you have a guy like Hopkins, you just want him to get the ball because you're like, hey, if I'm in trouble, he's going to help me out. But I just think you can't play that way. I mean, I think that Kyler Murray is a very young player. I think he's still going to make the wild card slot. I think that the NFC is a little thin in terms of playoff contenders. So I think the Cardinals will still make the playoffs. I still absolutely, though, think that they are 1 or 2 pieces away. I don't think their defense is quite there yet. They have a lot of young talent. I think they're still a piece or 2 away. And if you're the Lions, you guys got lucky, quite frankly. You barely eked out the last second field goal.
Win's a win, brother.
Yeah. The funny thing is, Jamal Agnew out here playing receiver for him. You know, Jamal Agnew used to be a corner for the first 3 years in the league.
Hey, I mean,
now we're going in that corner.
Well, look what they did. I mean, it's kind of like the Dunbar Clinton when they had what's his name, Quentin Dunbar. He was a receiver when he came into the league. Now he's a top corner.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. He's probably not. I wouldn't say he's a number 1, but he's definitely up there. I mean, so these guys sometimes they find a better spot for him and they work in those spots better, man.
Yeah, a little conversion.
Then we get into Green Bay, New Orleans. I didn't think this one was going to be as close as it was.
Yeah, after what we saw them do against the Raiders.
I mean, you look at Rodgers. This guy is just stellar, man. He was 21 for 32, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Aaron Jones again. This guy is such a tank, man.
So and the fact that he can do everything too, I think is something that really sets him apart.
It's huge. And I'm blown away. Like I'm just like, yo, where is my guy? I want to see AJ Dillon. I would like to just see him touch the ball a couple times, but he's not getting no love. But we talked big on Lazard. You guys were huge on him on the weekend. He goes for 6 for 146 in a tutty, bro. All the 8 targets, he only I guess that's 2 misses that he had or whatever off the targets, and that is crazy.
I mean, that's efficiency right there. I mean, I knew Lazard would be good with Adams down. I thought that he'd slot in because we expected MVS there to not do a lot. But if you told me 146 and a tutty, don't think I'd believe you. I don't think I would. And what's interesting too about this game is they practically mirrored each other.
Mercedes Lewis had a touchdown. That's real. That's a real big factor. I didn't even know he was still in the game in the league.
Dude, I thought he retired.
He had one catch for 18 yards in a tutty.
So what's super interesting about this game is how much it mirrored each other. I mean, 369 yards to 397, very close. Third down efficiency, 5 for 11 for both of them. I mean, it just came down to a fumble loss for the Saints. I think that was a big thing there. And then the penalties, I think, came into effect here. But what an even game. I mean, the Saints looked great. I think the things that we saw to Kamara as a receiver, I mean, 5 for 58 touching from running back, but 13 for 139, 2 touchdowns as a receiver. That's something else. Because, I mean, when you come into this game, if you're the Packers, you're shutting down Kamara. There's no Mike Thomas. There's no real X factor on that team besides Kamara, and you let him run all over you. You let him catch the ball all over the place. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's wild, bro. Like,
they were lucky to win that game.
Yeah, that was wild, man. I mean, he had Latavius Murray doing work in the backfield. Like, I mean, you have Kamara doing work.
Like, Kamara's another one of these guys.
I'm just lost that he's your top guy for 13 catches. Like, Emmanuel Sanders looked good. He had a nice catch across the middle.
That's an interesting one. The fact that
he
led by catches.
This one blows
That's
my mind though. Like I don't know what's going on. If Jared might be nursing something, they're not getting many
Yeah.
plays, but he only had 3 targets this game, and caught 2 of them for 21 yards. This
Okay,
is
so
usually Breeze's guy.
Yeah, it does turn out he actually is banged up. He left a little bit of the game with an injury there in the third
That's what I figured.
quarter. So I mean, Jared Cook's a guy that I've always been really high on. Jared Cook. I think he's a guy who can make plays.
Yeah, I mean with Breeze, it's his guy.
I mean, 33 at the tight end position, you're starting to lose that speed, starting to slow down a little bit. And when Breeze absolutely loves the tight end, and the fact that he didn't use him much, I think is really telling on where Jared Cook stands with that team.
Yeah, I mean, and Traquan Smith did all right. It wasn't fantastic, but I mean, it was all right.
Not bad.
But I was really loving that Emmanuel Sanders came across and had that big catch in the end zone. I was pretty pumped for him.
It's one of those guys. So years ago, when he was leaving the Steelers, the Pats tried to sign him to a contract, but the Steelers ended up matching it. We didn't get him. He ends up going to the Broncos. Now he's of course with the Saints. I love Emmanuel Sanders. This guy, calling him a kid. Who am I? This guy, man,
I can probably call him a kid. I think I'm older than him.
He's tough as nails. Manny Sanders, 33, man. This dude's tough as nails,
Yep,
man.
I'm
He
older
will
than
give
him.
you all the work. He looked good with the Niners last year, looked good with the Broncos. This guy just won't stop fighting, man. I love that guy. I love him, man. I think that once they get Mike Thomas back, with what we've seen of them without Mike Thomas, this team might be better off having spent a little time without him. Because you get some of those other guys reps. Maybe like Deontay Harris gets a little bit of love. Yeah, get that trust built up. You got to get that trust built up. And when you come back and you have to worry about Mike Thomas and you got to worry about Kamara putting up 13 catches, 150 plus yards on you, that's going to make you think twice. Do we stack the box? No, we got to double team Mike. Oh, good luck.
Oh, he better start trusting him because he caught almost everything I think Breeze threw at him. So
yeah, I mean, only 8 for 89 on the year. That is a little low for a guy that you expect a little bit more out of. But I think that he's getting into this new offense. I think the Saints offense isn't super complicated, but it's different.
He caught 4 out of 5 passes. So I mean,
yeah. But I mean, I think he's just sky's the limit there. I mean, I think he can just he can work, man. Especially when Mike comes back, slides everything over. He's going to be getting open for sure.
Now on the final touch here is going to be the Dolphins Jaguars game, and wow, were we wrong?
Wrong.
We were so wrong on this. We all picked the Jaguars to win this game. Gardner Minshew comes back, shows up this week. Didn't put up any.
It wasn't terrible.
He threw. He only missed 12 passes, so not too crazy. 30 for 42, 275, and no touchdowns. I mean, that's shitty. But he threw 1 pick. But
stats on Fitzy there, you look at the stats on both sides, and you don't understand how this was so out of whack.
I think there's a defense. I think there's a lot of defense in this one. I mean, James Robinson has 2 touchdowns.
I mean, third down efficiency. We had the Dolphins 7 for 13. Jags 3 for 10, 0 for 3 on fourth. I mean, that's a big number right there. But how about this James Robinson, man? This kid is a future stud, a future possible second-round fantasy pick here. I mean, he looks fantastic in the receiving game, in the pass game. 6 for 83 catching, 11 for 46 on the ground, 2 tutties. I mean, I think he had like 30 points in the ESPN league. That's fantastic, man. And that's why sometimes you look at these teams where it's like, oh, the Jaguars, I'm not going to take a Jaguar. They're going to get down. And when they get down, they're throwing the ball. And if you have a guy who can catch the ball, you want him. You want him on that team. Keelan Cole looks pretty good. This Laviska Shenault Jr., he seems to be like maybe the next guy there. Because, I mean, Keelan Cole's getting kind of old in terms of losing a little bit of speed there. I mean, he's still young, don't get me wrong, only 27, but he's losing his speed a little bit of injuries over the years there. But I think once you get DJ Chark back, I think that's big because that's just a confidence thing with Minshew. Minshew really needs Chark out there because he's one of those guys, just throw him the ball. He's going to catch it.
Okay, let's see if we had any.
And something else that I found really interesting in that game is the fact that the Dolphins really leaned on this Myles Gaskin kid. When we get into the waiver wire here, we're definitely hitting on Gaskin. But how about 22 carries for Gaskin? Second most carries, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
18 for 20.
That's fascinating. And the fact that Breida and Howard each only had 3, I mean, I thought Breida was going to take this job. I mean, Joho, He's okay. He's never been a guy that I hang my hat on. But I thought Burrito was going to come and take this job. The fact that the young Miles Gaskins is taking over that job, I think that's big. I mean, he's only 23, first year in the league, coming out of the University of Washington here. I think he's got a bright future, man. I think he's got a really bright future.
What's crazy is you have Fitzpatrick with 3 touchdowns.
Wild. But Gordon, this is Fitzpatrick. This is the cycle
Gordon
of Fitzpatrick.
Howard with a touchdown. So there's 4 touchdowns right there. And then
this is like we like to call the cycle of Fitzpatrick. He's going to show
our boy,
up.
The guy we've been pretty hot on, the tight end, Gesicki.
Oh, I love it. I love
he. He has a touchdown.
One catch.
And Preston Williams. Preston Williams has a touchdown.
Yeah, I think though the Dolphins, they have a really tough schedule. I mean, they got Falcons coming up, a couple of these Niners, Broncos, then you got Chargers, you got Rams, you got Cardinals. I mean, the Dolphins team, I think is one that I would give it 3 or 4 more weeks with Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's going to choke at some point. And I know they really want to protect Tua, but I think at some point it doesn't hurt to get him on the field just to get some reps. Yeah. Whether it be like a 2 QB thing, maybe a little wildcat action, because I know Tua's pretty mobile. Get him out there. Just get him on the field because Fitzpatrick ain't your future. He's what, 39, 37?
He might be older than that, bro. He might be up in the 40s by now.
Fitzpatrick, 37. Yeah, he's been in the league for a while. 2005 draft. I mean, the dude's played for 9 different teams now. So you know what you're getting out of him. You know what you're getting. There's no future there. He might win you a game or 2, but quite frankly, why are you winning? If you're the Dolphins, what are you doing? The Bills and the Pats are clearly ahead of you. You've lost Howard and Byron Jones to injuries, your 2 top corners. Just let it go. Let it go. Don't win. Same with the Lions. Why are you winning? Just let it go. Just go get your draft pick.
Xavier Howard is back.
Oh, Xavier did come back. Okay, I knew he had a minor
injury. He actually had a pick.
Oh, real quick, a little Mutt news. We got a Robert Woods flashback card coming. Woo-hoo. 89. So flashbacks are confirmed here.
So now we have getting into this waiver wire, the guy I would like to touch on is the guy that Meesmo has brought up in the chat, and that's Isaiah Wright. This guy looked amazing. This guy looked amazing for the Redskins. He was a pretty good highlight. He could easily push himself into the number 2 spot. Like, this dude's fast. He's got really good hands. Like, he could be something special.
I like that. Did he show up a little bit on
he definitely
Sunday?
Did. Definitely showed up.
Oh, interesting. They got him with a wide receiver number, but yeah, he runs it, he catches it. Hey, find that side. I mean, if you get him and Gibson, a little Thunder, a little Lightning, man. Although I guess that might be double Lightning.
Yeah, he didn't do bad. I think he only had 1 touch though. He only had 1 touch per carry, but he did well at receiving. 4 for 24, not big yards, but he's a nice guy that could, if they could get McLaurin, him, and who's the other one I would like to see get involved? Sims get a little bit more involved, but like, I mean, this is where, like, you don't see Sims on the field, you don't see him with any catches, and I think this is just where you get in that spot is like,
you need playmakers.
What is Haskins doing?
Try him, you know, you got to try him.
I mean, another bright spot, the old guy from this game, Terrell Inman.
That was surprising.
Comes out.
I'm interested to see if he has a 2 touchdown game for the rest of the year. I think that was very much so. I think that they keyed on Terry a decent amount. I mean, Terry still had a great game.
And that's one of those things I keep talking about. Why when we do these things is I don't care what they put on Terry. Terry's gonna get open. He's gonna get open. I mean, he's showing you, like, he's not scoring touchdowns, but he's putting up almost 100 yards every game.
If you're PPR, you got to be Terry every single week. Every single week, this kid's making plays. He's getting open consistently. He's so fast, great hands. Scary Terry is not going anywhere, folks.
He was so, like, this is how bad Haskins was. Haskins had 3 interceptions, and he fumbled the ball twice.
Yikes! I mean, you can't turn over the ball that many times.
Well, you see, you have 5, 6, 7 turnovers in that game for them. Looks like. I think it's 7 turnovers total was the top. I mean, Sims was playing because he did return the ball. So
that's surprising because I feel like Sims is another guy where, like, if you have someone who's just athletic and dynamic, just get him out there. You got to get the reps. You got to get them comfortable with the game. I think that when you have a guy who's clearly athletic like Sims, like Wright, you got to get them out there. And a guy that we saw that with this week, Justin Jefferson with the Vikings. If he's on the waiver wire, I don't know if I can trust Kirk fully. But when you get 7 catches for 175 and a
75
touchdown,
yards.
and you make the damn plays that this kid made, you got to pick him up. You got to
Like
pick
that touchdown, he burnt that guy. Like he literally,
roasted him.
like he was
Roasted him.
going 15, 20 yards ahead of him.
And the Vikings have a pretty good schedule. I mean, if you're looking at the last couple weeks of the season, you're playing guys like the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, the Lions. These are matchups you want to target, and that's something that people don't think about with fantasy. You've got to look at the playoff matchups. Most playoffs are 14, 15, 16 those weeks. Sometimes it's just 15, 16. No week 17, everyone's sitting. So you got to look at these matchups, man. If you're coming out here and we're facing the Saints and the Lions, like give me those games, man. Like I want those matchups, man. And I think that what you saw from Justin Jefferson, he's going to continue to show out. I mean, that's impressive stuff that this kid did. And of course, Allen Lazard. If for some reason your league still has Allen Lazard, please go get him.
Another thing we got going on too is going to be interesting too is that the Vikings and the Titans both shut down practice because of COVID.
Yeah, I saw 3 Vikings players, 5 personnel have tested positive. I think that this is the fear with a league that travels as much as it does because they're not really bubbling their players. I'm very worried that we might be seeing our last week of football this week. So cherish it.
And this is a big thing too, though. I mean, these guys are supposed to test before games.
Yeah.
And
but that's the thing. Test negative, but then you still got it, which is the thing with COVID that's such a headache, man. Like you don't know if you got it or not. And now you got the Vikings going to the Texans, and then the Titans are going to, I think maybe the Giants. Titans going to the Steelers. You might have 2 games, 4 teams not playing now.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who's got it. I mean, you think about the locker room situation, how close these guys are. It's going to spread, man. And this was the fear with this. If you're going to try to avoid people from getting it, you got to commit to it. And I think that, unfortunately, these 2 games, I don't know what you do with them. Because you can't I guess maybe move their bye week to now and try to figure out the schedule. But, like, it sucks, man. Because this was the fear coming in. This was the fear coming in that we were going to have some guys go down with it. Moving games to Monday. Okay, I like that. Nismo.
Now, who else do you have on the waiver wire that you're liking there?
So one we mentioned as well, Jeff Wilson. If he's still there, go get Wilson. Go get McKinnon. I think both are.
You
really
can't get him in our league because I got him.
right. I think you got to go get Myles Gaskin as well. We touched on him a little bit there. I think Jimmy Graham would be a little ballsy. I don't love that one, but T. Higgins.
There's
I think that
one I got for you. I got one. There's going to be a new tight end in San Francisco.
Ooh. Okay, not Jordan, not our guy here.
Jordan Reed is on the IR.
Oh no! What happened to him, you poor bastard? Did he get another concussion?
No, it was actually his sprained ankle, or sprained knee and ankle.
Wow, that is massive. Because
it's time for him to hang it up. He's got to stop. He can't stay healthy. The only thing
is, at least it wasn't his head this time. It wasn't the noggin.
But it's
always the noggin.
Still one of those things. Like it's just, I forget his name.
Oh, here we go. Ross Dwelly.
Yes.
Ross Dwelly. Go pick him up. Nick Mullins. Now, I get you guys don't know who Nick Mullins is, but he, surprisingly enough, is fairly proven. He had a good run 2 years ago when Jimmy G went down, or when he first got there. He played a little bit there. I think that's a decent call. I mean, when you look at a guy who's starting in a team that's probably going to be in a lot of shootouts, be struggling a lot, you want to target these guys.
Then I have another one coming from the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to take Brandon Ayuka. I think that's how you say it.
I like this.
Ayuka.
This kid's talented. This kid's fast. He's got the hands. He is a talent right
I think he's going to be a great guy at receiver. He's so fast. He runs routes good. Like he's a step ahead of a rookie. That's where I feel like. I mean, he's up there. He's got a nice, good. He runs routes great. Like, and route running is huge in the NFL. So.
Oh, absolutely. I think what's interesting there is they have so many wide receivers that you always wonder who's going to step out. I mean, you got Dante Pettis, Trent Taylor. I believe Deebo Samuel got injured. They signed Mohamed Sanu, who got released from the Pats earlier on, and not a big Sanu guy. So I think that a kid like this, he's got the speed. I think he can fill that kind of Marquise Goodwin role that he did with that he had with the Niners. But this kid's a little bit more than just a streak. This kid can run routes. I definitely like that pick, Ayak, right there. I really like that. I also think kind of a sleeper in terms of I hate this team. I do not trust this team. But the numbers don't lie. Braxton Berrios from the Jets. Honey Nut Berrios. Yeah, we're picking a target of Sam Darnold, folks.
Ooh.
As long as Jamison Crowder's out, Listen to these last 2 games. Against the Niners, 6 catches, 59 and a touchdown. We'll take that. Pretty good. Last week against the Colts, 4 catches, 64, another touchdown. On the season, 10 catches, 123, 2 touchdowns. That's not bad. I know it's not great, and I know that we don't trust Sam Darnold at all, but you think that this team's going to be down every week. But despite Darnold sucking, he's got to throw the ball. They can't run the ball. Frank Gore ain't going to win you a game. The dude's like 74, and he might just die on the field next Sunday. So you've got to look at this in terms of they're going to pass. It's kind of like with the Jaguars, with James Robinson. They're going to have to pass, and someone's got to get the ball. Jameson Crowder's normally this guy, but I think Braxton Berrios is going to continue to see looks, and he might be the weirdest pick.
Keep talking.
But he could work out for you. And by the way, guys, real quick, do not touch the Patriots. Do not touch the Patriots running backs. I know Rex Burkhead looked great. 3 touchdowns. Love to see Rex Burkhead, but as a Pats fan, Rex Burkhead will give you these games. He absolutely will give you these games. He'll give you a couple games where this dude's flashy, but you got to remember, James White didn't play for 2 weeks here because of the loss of his father and his mom being in some tough conditions here. So you got to remember that Rex Burkhead is going to slide to the back of the pack at some point. This is a team that likes to use all the running backs, all the wide receivers. We like to call it Bellatrix. Yes, Bellatrix. Patent pending, folks. And this is a team that you don't know what you're going to get out of them. Is it going to be Sony Michel? Is it going to be Rex Burkhead? Is it going to be James White? Is it going to be J.J. Taylor, the undrafted free agent, who's looked fantastic, by the way? I mean, they had over 250 rushing yards between the whole team. And I just think that you don't want to pick one of these guys. Now, if you're in a real bind and James White sits again, I think Rex Burkhead might be an option. But until we see something clear, I mean, Damian Harris just came off AIR. Now we got 5 running backs. You want to trust a 5 running back system? I ain't touching that one, man. Bellatrix in full effect, folks.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. I mean, it's tough out there.
Yeah, you just can't trust it. I mean, we talked it with the Shanahanigans. You don't know what you're getting out of them, man.
Yeah.
They just use whoever they want, and they don't care about who you think's the starter. They're going to list a starter, and they're going to have 4 touches, and they're going to see the pine. It's wild. What I do like is that for some reason Sony Michel's out there. I think Sony Michel is really finding a spot in this offense. He wasn't a good receiver. He's starting to catch the ball more. They're starting to look at him for screens and checkdowns. He ran fantastic. I mean, he busted out on some big plays. So I think that if you can get a hold of him, I think his stock might be low enough that you might be able to get him. But I would not touch those running backs. I think that's bad news right there. That's bad news, Bears. Speaking of Bears, Jimmy Graham had a nice week, but again, what are you going to get out of him? Nick Foles. Do we trust Nick Foles? Trubisky. We hate Trubisky. So we're going to trust Foles to throw to Graham. I ain't trusting a week of fantasy on that. If I'm throwing him like a third DraftKings, so be it. So be it. But I'm not trusting it. And speaking of which, the DraftKings lineup did do pretty well this week. So if you guys tagged along, you should have cashed in all cash games. Probably hit some single entry GPPs too. And remember, I thought about pulling Calvin Ridley. We left him in there. That paid off. Calvin Ridley still looked like
Told you not to pull him.
Calvin Ridley, matchup proof, team proof. He could be the only receiver out there. Their other receivers could be Joe and Schmo, and it don't matter. Calvin Ridley's going to get his. This man's going to eat. He's a number 1 wide receiver. I'm probably taking him in the top 3 rounds next year. This kid is amazing, man. I love what I'm seeing.
Hey, I told you, don't do it.
You did too. He's daddy like, no. Because the thing was, Dev got me, and he's like, "Oh no, that Julio's out. You know, we're gonna have Kyle Fuller over there. We're gonna shed the coverage. You know, Bears gonna bear down." And I'm like, crap, you're right. And
no way.
It was funny too.
Ridley's too dynamic. He's just he's just got that dynamic. He's got that it factor. And now that you have Gage hurt, you got guys falling down. He's gonna get the ball, and then the only way he's not getting the ball is if teams start doubling him, and then you know where you go. If he gets doubled, you're going to Hayden Hurst. And
I don't know. Even if you double him at this point, this kid's insane.
Some of these new guys are stepping up. Some of these young guys. I mean, they had a couple guys step up in that game. I forget the kid's name, but he did catch my attention.
And what's interesting too, it was really funny. It was I think it was around halftime of these games, and Dev hits me up on Twitter. It was like, man, thank God we don't pay for parlays. I'm like, yeah, we struggled. This is
the other kid, Asama Zacchaeus.
Oh, Alamide Zacchaeus.
Well, I'm glad you can speak that shit because I can't.
We're gonna call him Alphabet. We're gonna call him Alphabet.
I mean, this guy has 4 catches, 41 yards out of nowhere. I think this guy could be another big part of this. I mean, with Gage being
Which is
hurt,
wild. Just another guy goes down, another guy steps up. Even Brandon Powell had 3 catches that day. I mean,
yeah, this
this is
guy.
a team that they just have the talent, man. I think that having Matt Ryan be as consistent as he's been this year. Now, mind you, he didn't look great against the Bears, but I think that between Gurley and Hill, I mean, Brian Hill here, 9 carries, 50 yards and a touchdown. Also had a couple. I had a catch for 22. I think Brian Hill's someone you might want to look at the waiver wire, honestly, especially if we see Russell Gage go down for a while and we see Julio miss more time. I think that this Brian Hill kid could be a potential find.
He had a good average too, 6.4
Yeah.
yards. I mean, they ran well.
Gurley. Yeah, I mean, if you're an out-touch guy like Gurley, I mean, Gurley's certainly lost some steps. Old Triscuit knees over there. But
I mean,
Brian Hill, you got to go for him. I think you got to pick up this kid, right?
I'd probably have to see another week. Like I could pick him up, stash him. He could be a stash him.
Now, mind you, most of these guys we mentioned, most of them you want to pick them up and stash them. A couple of these guys you probably will start right out the gate. I mean, Jeff Wilson, I think you want to start as long as Mostert and Coleman continues to sit. I think that Alan Lazard with Adams out, still a fantastic sit. But a lot of the waiver wire stuff, this is a wait and see thing because you don't want to think of picking someone up and not pulling the trigger, then have them blow up on Sunday, and then now you're sitting trying to hope you get them on the waivers. Get these guys early, drop guys. I mean, we're 3 weeks in. If you have someone on your roster who's been first 3 weeks, why are you holding them? Don't hold a guy because their name. Hold a guy because their value. And I think that's very important in fantasy sports. People draft that way. People run the waiver wire that way. You're not here for names. You're here for numbers. That's why Braxton Berrios. If you told me I want Braxton Berrios over Christian Kirk, I'd tell you you're crazy.
This is one of the things me and him argued on because he was like, what are you picking those guys for? I said, I'm not looking for their name, man. I'm looking for the consistency. I want numbers every week, and it pays off because I went back. I've now won two games in a row and came back from almost a 40-point spread last week.
Yeah, I mean, last week was insanity. That was a wild week of football right there. I mean, I think that most fantasy matchups, I think, win a little different than what we saw. I mean, especially when you have all these injuries, a lot of guys have to hit these waiver wires, which is why this waiver is so important this season, man, with so many injuries. It is. And remember, this waiver, almost all leagues, they penned going into Wednesday morning, usually around like 2, 3 a.m. So you got to get these waivers in. And especially if you're a league where it's a regular snake wire, where, if you make a claim, you get pushed down. If you play well, you're pushed down. If you're in a waiver budget league, you might be okay and get away with it. But if you're in a regular waiver league, you have to jump on these players early. You can't wait. Very rarely do you see a guy in the last 3 weeks of the season, 4 or 5 weeks, that you can get on the waiver wire. Most of these guys, you got to get early. You got to get them early.
Then we're gonna touch a little bit. We got Thursday night football, the first game of October. We're in October already.
Crazy.
In October.
Week four, my guy.
4 coming up. We got the Broncos versus the Jets. One of these teams could get a win. The reason why I say could, because we already had our first tie of the season last week.
It's gonna be a tie. I can't pick either of these teams. You cannot make me pick either of these teams. This is bad. Now, the Broncos had their quarterback in Courtland Sutton.
This could be like the worst Thursday night game. This might be the worst one of the season yet.
For some awful reason, I almost think that Darnold plays well. I don't know why. I have no proof of this. I have no reason to think this. He's been terrible. But this feels like it was like the Dolphins-Jags game all over again. Where we're like, oh, it'll be the Jags.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it's going to be the Broncos. It's going to be the Jets. The Jets are going to win by like 20 points. Darnold's going to throw like 6 fucking touchdowns.
There's a 20-point spot up.
What's happening?
What are you doing? Throw a 20-point spread win on them? What?
No. What I'm saying, like in the Jags-Dolphins game, I thought the Jags had that easy. Next thing you know, they're losing by 20 points. Like this Thursday night slate, if you can sit guys, please do. I know I mentioned Berrios with some upside, but very rarely. The only Thursday night game that I like this year is Cardinals Seahawks, and I'm still not touching that game because it's Thursday night on a short week. When you have a short week, you mess up with these guys' body clocks. Football, I think, is very much so a system, a routine, which is why you see guys like Dalton who can't play in primetime, Kirk who can't play in primetime. You're used to that 1 o'clock. You're used to that. That's what your body's used to. You wake up, you get ready for the game, you go play. You don't sit around all day. So I'm going to sit around all day, middle of the week. Now,
all right, these Thursday nights, they're not as shitty after this week.
They get better, which is wild. I was running down on the
Like, I
stream
mean,
the other
you
day.
got
The last like 5 games are kind of legit.
I mean, you
Like,
got Tampa Bay versus the Bears. That's 2-1 versus 3-0. And then we come into week 6 and you're seeing Kansas City versus Buffalo, both 3-0. They
Mhm.
usually both be 4-0 coming into this game.
Yeah.
Well, 5-0 actually. Yeah,
Mhm.
5-0. Then it goes bad again in week 7, where you see the Giants and the Eagles. And then you get Atlanta, Carolina,
Gross.
Green Bay, and San Francisco. That could be a good game. Could be.
That would have been
That's
good
week-
before
That's
the
week
injury.
9. I mean, but that's week 9, so
Yeah.
depending.
But from there on, I'm pretty sure it's fire,
Oh, then
like
you-
hot fire.
Then
on
you got
Thursdays.
the Colts versus the Titans.
That's a good game. It's a good
Then
game
you
right there.
have Arizona
Not
versus
flashy.
the Seahawks. Arizona.
That one's
that
fantastic.
one should be
That-
fun.
That, probably is going to decide the playoffs.
Then you have Dallas versus the Ravens.
Oof. I mean, oof. You got Ravens in primetime versus Cowboys in primetime. Yikes! I can't pick that game. I cannot pick that one.
I don't know. We'll see. That's kind of deep. That's a week 13 game.
Yeah,
Then you
so
have
what's
New-
our call on this game here? You know, I'm thinking all logic would point to the Broncos before they're on their third quarterback. I'm a little nervous here. I think that there's a chance that this game is like a 6-9, like 6-3. I think the defense outscores the offense easily on both sides. I hate both defenses, but there's no way that Darnold
I'm gonna do
and
it.
Driscoll or Ripien are going to outscore anything. Like you could probably hop out there and throw a touchdown against that defense. Like,
I mean,
I don't know if you've ever played quarterback. I don't know if you got a cannon, but I got to assume that even.
Bro, I'll
even
put
you-
it this way: I played center field and I could throw the ball in a rope from dead center field, 355 feet out, or
Two
farther,
touchdowns.
and
Confirmed, two touchdowns.
on a line, never touched the
Frozen
ground. Frozen
Frozen
rope
rope.
to home plate. So here's what I'm gonna do. Got a quarter here. How bad this game is, guys. Heads is the Broncos, tails is the Jets. I'm gonna let it hit the floor. How I'm calling it. And it's gonna be the Broncos. Right? That's what I said. Heads was Broncos.
That's fair. I feel that. I think flipping a coin in that game fits. It really does.
I couldn't pick it. Let the coin pick it.
I think that despite how much I hate both these teams, I think that the only thing going for either of these teams is the fact that there's some chemistry with Darnold and crew. So I'm gonna go Jets, but I'm not confident. It's gonna be by far the ugliest game you are ever gonna watch. I think that there's probably gonna be like 7 interceptions between the two of them. It is gonna be ugly. Now the only thing is this Ripien kid, if he comes in,
Ripken.
Ripken, okay. If he comes in and he looks good, we might have something there. But I just think that both these offenses are thin on offense, thin on defense. This is going to be ugly. This is going to be straight up ugly.
Yeah, my quarter picked it. Just so I can say, hey, I didn't pick it.
We should do this. We should have our Thursday night games. Just flip a coin. Just
Flip a coin and hope for the best. It could be the flip. We'll call it the flip. Oh, lands. That's what it is. And then what about the big news that dropped today that Earl Thomas delays his freaking visit with the Texans, and then they pull the strings and say, no, we don't want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, so they're
Like, what is
claiming
this guy
is
doing, man?
They're claiming this is a COVID concern. I'm pretty sure this is someone in the locker room going to Bill and saying, please don't. Please don't. Just don't. I mean, if you're the Texans, I know that they're looking for that lightning in a bottle to bring them back. But when you're talking about guys like Earl Thomas, I also saw some rumors for Antonio Brown. Just stop. You're going to make a bad situation worse. Just give up. Just give up this year. I've said it like 7 times tonight. Just go get your draft pick. It's not your year. Go get your draft pick. Fire Bill O'Brien, maybe. I don't know. I think Bill O'Brien, he might have worn out his welcome there. I think that he's shown time and time again that he is not going to carry you the next level. How many times is he going to make the playoffs or have a primetime game and just choke? I mean, look at him playing the Pats in the playoffs for, I think, 2 or 3. It was like 3 out of 4 years. Just getting destroyed by him. I mean, you got to question the coaching here at this point.
Yeah, it's just I don't know where you go with it, but how like in the stage of Earl Thomas, how do you even like put something on pause? Dude,
Yeah, like it's so weird. It's so
nobody's
weird.
contacted you. Nobody's given you a chance since you've been cut.
It's bizarre. It's really just bizarre,
Like,
man.
bro, like you gotta take what you get.
Like, what do we not know about this situation? Because we heard the stuff about him and his brother. Okay, that's whatever. That shouldn't affect the locker room.
Well, he's got to be a
What
head
do we
case in the locker
do?
room. He
He's
has
got to
to.
be a case. How else do you not take a guy who's a proven talent, a proven commodity? I thought a good leader, but apparently not if no one wants him. I mean, the Cowboys turned him down. That's saying a lot. That defense is bad, and they turned him
I
down
don't
too.
think they turned him down.
They just weren't interested in
They
having
just
him in,
had
though.
they haven't brought him in yet.
Which turned him down more or less. If you're not going to bring him in for a workout, man, you're pretty much saying nope. I just think that with Earl Thomas, it's just I don't know what's going on there. Like, there's got to be something that we don't know about.
He's got to be
That
like
we know.
he's got to be an absolute head case, bro. Like he's got to be.
He's got
That's the only thing I could think of. I mean, because he plays good. I mean, he's definitely on the back end of his career, but
yeah.
he's.
I mean, he's 31. He has. You would think as a safety, he's got a couple years left, man. A free
I
safety.
mean, but I just
He's
think
got the brain.
I think the head. I think he's a head case in the locker room. That's my take
He's
on
gotta
it.
be. He's gotta be. There's no other reason that this guy would still be as a free agent this late into the season.
And then we get into our guy. Like this is one of my guys. He was one of my favorite receivers in the game. Seahawks wide receiver Jermaine Kearse retired.
Oh, did he? Did he?
Definitely just
He had a
retired.
tough end.
He retired.
I mean,
He retired today, I believe.
Yeah, he
But-
has the Jets up there. Only 30, man. Oh no, he went to the Lions for a year. Hey, he won a championship though. He looked good in that championship.
Yeah, I
too.
mean, this is
Man.
it's tough seeing guys go, man. Like this guy, I always thought he was a good class, never in trouble, did his thing. So hats off to him. And
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling he'd have trouble coming back. I'm a little surprised to see him not try, but I don't think you blame him. I mean, the man broke his leg. When you break your leg and you're 30, you got to come to an understanding. You know, you won a Super Bowl, you were at the top, you had some fantastic years. I mean, this dude almost had 800 yards one year with the Jets. Like that stuff's impressive, man. I think that it's the right choice. I hate when guys stick around too long. I mean, look at a guy like Wes Welker. I was just cringing watching him play the last year. Like I'd always prefer, regardless of the injury, just go out when you're ready. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, you look at C.J. Anderson just retired last week as well, and another guy, only 29, young, still has stuff left in tank. But hey,
yeah, I mean,
he won
he's
his
kind of
title,
to the back end to
had
the.
time. Yeah, I mean, as a running back,
As a running
for
back,
sure.
you're kind of
Once
on your
you
end.
get 27, 28, once you get like 5-6 years in the league, it's tough. It's tough. It's a very physical position, and especially these days, it's such a physical league, man.
You have anything else you want to cap on?
I don't think much. I mean, I think we kind of hit it all. I mean, that Monday night game was absolutely nutty. I don't think a lot of people would have expected it to go the way it went. Outside of that, man, like it was a wild week start to finish, man. We saw some crazy stuff go down, man. The fact that Mahomes looked as good as he did with as many targets as he did, and the fact that it wasn't even close is what I think shocks a lot of people here. I think that
he did some
this
serious
is one
work.
to take away from. I think that this instantly puts the Chiefs as the number one favorite, undoubtedly. I think that the Ravens now are undoubtedly not going to go far in the playoffs. We've seen time and time again, Lamar just isn't going to show up there.
Unless they do something and get it together, then I agree 100% there.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to this weekend, though. A lot of good games coming up. I'm gonna have another great week. I'm sure you, me, and Deb are gonna be diving back into it. Maybe get another guest in here, depending on who we can get a hold of. But I mean, I'm loving the shows, man. I think we're in a great spot. We're rolling. We are rolling.
So, guys, make sure you guys remember this too. We will be back on Sunday. Hopefully, I'm good. If not, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out a way of putting the leg right.
We can 100%. We can either pre-tape it or something. Like, just not do like, man. You're having fucking knee surgery. Like if you need some time off, go take some time off, my man. Like maybe I don't know. Me and Dev could do a show. Like I don't know. Like we can talk about it, though. We can talk about it.
I can always get it running and all that stuff, and just leave the two cameras, reposition cameras.
Yeah, for sure.
But guys, make sure you guys tune in on Sundays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We do a show called Let's Get it's called Get Sticky Fantasy Breakdowns, where we break down everything. We break down JG gets really in depth on the dailies.
Oh yeah.
Dev does a really good job with the waiver wire. I'm a more of the the start of sit guy. Maybe a little bit of sleepers in there sometimes.
Yeah,
But
and the nice thing is we all cross over a decent amount. I think that's something that's really good about our chemistry, the way we flow. We have a lot of good opinions. So I think Dev killed it with a lot of his insights. And I think it's important because sometimes when you have two guys, sometimes we link up. And when we link up, it's tough for the viewers to like, hey, I'd like to hear the other side of it. And I think Dev's really helped with that. I think he's brought some really great insight as a third guy. I think it's a fantastic addition to our team. And if any of you guys watching, if you're a big fantasy guy, get in touch with us. Maybe we can work something out. We'll talk it out here. We're always looking to expand the Getting Sticky crew, especially for these new shows we're rocking.
yeah, I mean we have this one going on, which we do every Tuesday, 7 p.m. We rock it out. We come to this directory specifically for it, just because Madden is smoked right now because they have the big thing going on with
yeah, Derwin versus Hootie. You can go check out Hootie. Sorry, Darius. Sorry, Hootie. I'm Darius. Sorry.
When's this over? 10?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not even gonna bother. I didn't get my token last week, so I'm like, whatever. Okay.
So, we have this show going on. We are in the processes of trying to get another one going, which will be a lot about a broad range of different things, movies, music, whatever is coming out, new game systems.
I'm really excited for that one, man. We're gonna get into all this stuff, man. We got movies, sports, life,
wrestling, everything's gonna be it.
There's not a single topic. Well, okay.
Yeah,
there's nothing.
We're not gonna get politics
outside of that stuff. We're gonna keep this straightforward. No life opinions. We're gonna talk about what's going on in our lives. We're going to talk about movies, sports, wrestling, man, video games. We're going to get into everything, man. We're going to have a great rotation of guys coming through, guys that you know,
guys
that you might not know yet. And that's what I'm really excited for. I think we're going to get some guys in here that you might not be super familiar with, and maybe you get excited about them and you go check them out as well. I mean, this is a community, it's a family, and we're looking to grow this family. So if you guys are interested, let us know.
That's the biggest thing is we want to get all the members involved in that are part of the Get Sticky crew. So guys, make sure you stop by, check it out. I also interview some of these guys that are on the team, some guys that may not be on the team. I do a podcast every Friday night, 7 p.m. We have a new guy on. This one's going to be a little bit different because nobody knows this person. So this guy, his name, how's it going, music? This guy is Ryan Miller. He is creating a new social media platform that is specifically for gamers. So it's basically kind of like a Twitter type of deal. It's called Gamerized. I'm actually part of it. I'm an ambassador of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome platform. Like, it's so cool. If you guys want to get involved,
I like this.
Go to my thing and you can click it. It's called Gamerized. You click it, you go there, sign up, get in there. You can actually push you could actually start a broadcast right from there. People can interact straight from there, so they don't have to directly come to your stream. Still counts as a view. Everything. It's just easier. They are working on a mobile app that's coming out. I get to play with it first. Whoop.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I'm excited for that. That sounds awesome, man. That sounds.
It's actually.
Why has no one thought of that? Why has no one thought of this, man?
Oh, he's got it, dude. Go look it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check that out. I'm gonna check that out once we get off here. I love that. That sounds awesome. That's right up my alley too.
I don't even know. I might have it actually as a thing. If I have it as a tag or not. Popped in to say, I appreciate you popping in, man. Come back and check us out Sunday. We'll be live again Sunday with the breakdown.
Make sure you check out both our YouTube channels as well, especially his. He's putting all the stuff out on that channel.
Yeah, everything.
Smee45, search it on YouTube. You'll see him. JG603, search me on YouTube. You'll see me as well. We're going to start getting this stuff pumped out to you guys. Make sure you check him out on Spotify as well. All the platforms. Smee all over it, man. He is locking in with his goodies, man.
Yes, sir. Like I said, guys, it's all going to, there's so much going on. And make sure you go check out JG. JG's, and he's my other guy. It's, let's see, shout out G603.
Ooh, guess who just hit 200K points? Ooh.
There is JG's Twitch.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I do Madden, I do NBA, I do Call of Duty, man. I do whatever game I'm feeling. You know, I'm mainly a Madden guy, mind you. Been doing great on Week in League, 18 wins each week, 20-5 one of them. So make sure if you like that foosball, you come check me out.
And then also you can check him out at JG_603, I believe it is, on Twitter.
Yeah. Because some dude who's never posted has my real handle, and I'm not happy.
But if you guys have any questions during the week on fantasy, just make sure you guys hit us up. We will answer anything you guys want to see on these fantasy shows. We are taking those things into that you guys want to learn about. We have definitely a ton of information and looking to put it out. So I said, guys, absolutely. Appreciate you guys. We will see you guys on the fantasy show on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
See you guys there.
Peace.